it's certainly a new platform, that's has made a lot of changes and also significant impacts in our lives. But just like any other media before the digital age, it's just become a new tool in our toolbox. I guess it's both. Certainly has given regular citizens the power to participate in the public dialogue, right? So now you have your cell phone, you can take a video and pictures anywhere you want, right? And so regular citizens now become quote unquote reporters as well, right? So, for example, you probably remember the American airline emergency landing in the Hudson River, right?
Yeah.
So the first video was shot by actually bystander, right, and then uploaded into social media, and the regular media pick it up. And there are a lot of incidents like that now. So I think in that way it certainly benefits our democracy. So those disfranchised communities now have a means to participate. They have a means to participate in this process, right? At the same time, then it gives everybody the same access and same power, right? So extreme views got basically amplified a lot more than its own share. So it looks like there's a small segment of the society that have extreme views on both ends of the spectrum, right? So now their views got basically amplified in social media. It gives people the impression that they are part of mainstream conversation, but in reality, it's not. It's just that maybe someone in a dark corner of the basement saying something on social media, and suddenly give that voice, and so in that way, then it's certainly one of the downside of social media in democracy, right?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. It's fast and also accessible to lots of people. But in terms of reliability and credibility, as I said, in a lot of cases, it's regular citizen reporting from their phone. I wouldn't even say it's reporting, but regular citizen documenting, events, right, and upload it into social media. In that sense, then they don't have any training, in journalism, so they don't know how to check their sources, right? Then it's really questionable in terms of quality of news. It's not even news; it's their documentation. Depending how you define news, so it's someone's documentation that has not been cross-checked, right? So I wouldn't say it's reliable necessarily. So I don't think social media is a reliable source of news. It can be a starting point for you to seek out some news, right? You get alerted on your social media, on your Twitter. Then you will, for me, then I will go to other more credible traditional news outlets online to check it out, right? So it serves its purpose of alerting you something's going on. But in terms of the credibility and also forming your own judgment, is certainly not the only place to look for information. It's basically part of the whole process. It's the very beginning of the process, right? You still need to verify the information. I wouldn't say necessarily always fake news. Fake news means that you are basically publishing inaccurate information, right? Intentionally, in my view. So, but there are errors in reporting in basically all the news outlets, right? So we make mistakes. The present term of fake news is very different than what other people will, professionals will define as fake news. Basically, for him, it's basically whatever news is critical of him is fake news. So that's not correct, right?
Yeah.
So I would say yes, there are fake news out there, but then is probably a lot of times people confuse the term fake news with mistakes or inaccurate reporting, because that's basically the intention of the reporter, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you intentionally publicizing inaccurate information, that's fake news. But if you made a mistake, honest mistake in your reporting, and then you correct that later, that's not fake news. That's just an error we made,
Yeah.
right? So yeah. It's something we have to live with.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to go away. Even with the advance of technology, with artificial intelligence, digital media will probably get better at spotting those fake news.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the speed of dissemination for digital media will basically outrun, our ability to cross-check, all the reporting out there. So it's just I think it will become part of our life. We just have to live with it because of this technology, the accessibility of the technology and the advancement of the technology. So that's why I think we all need to have media literacy education as early as possible, preferably starting from elementary school. So kids need to learn how to basically spot, inaccurate reporting, how to basically evaluate information. So we become the judge of the quality of information rather than completely rely on the media to make the judgment for us. And the job of the media is not to make judgment; it's basically to report, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to make those judgments as the quality of the information. So I think yes, fake news will probably be part of our life, and we'll hear more of those. But we just need to be more conscious of them, and also again, media literacy education is critical. Well, I think yes, democracy has certainly benefited from social media. Of course, there are, some negative impacts of social media, but by and large, I think giving people the access to technology, giving people access to participate is a good thing. It's just democracy has taken a different format. Democracy is a living and breathing thing, right? So it always evolves. It's democracy in the medieval time is different than what we have now. Even democracy in the 20th century is different than what we have now. So we just need to have a discussion about what kind of democracy we have now, what kind of democracy we want in the future, right? Because whether you like it or not, social media is here to stay, right? It's gonna shape democracy. So democracy probably will no longer mean, you have your voice through basically the voting system, through debate in a civil matter. It will be a different form. As we have different forums now for people to voice their concern. So we just need to learn how to live with that, and also